The red carpet at the film festival premiere was a war zone of flashing lights. Isabel Vance, draped in a multi-million-dollar diamond-encrusted gown, pivoted on her 6-inch Louboutins. The train of her dress pulled around her like a liquid galaxy. She flashed her signature Vance smile, the left corner of her mouth lifting just a fraction higher than the right, a perfect 8 curvature. Isabel, over here, to your left. Your left. Chin up, darling. She moved with practiced ease, accommodating the frantic calls of the press. But in her head, she was counting down 37 more minutes of this hell. With a final blinding flash, a sharp pain lanced through her stomach. She held the smile, but her nails dug crescent moons into her palms. The 3 days of nothing but protein shakes were staging a full-scale rebellion. Izzy, it's time to go in, her assistant Ashley whispered at her elbow. Isabel gave a slight nod and, flanked by security, melted away from the media line. The second the elevator doors slid shut, she doubled over, pressing her forehead against the cool, brushed steel. Stomach again. Ashley frowned. I told you not to have that third iced Americano. Shut up and order me a DoorDash, Isabel bit out through clenched teeth. I want something with enough carbs to kill a horse. A large pepperoni pizza with extra cheese and hot honey, and a side of garlic knots. Ashley audibly gasped. Sharon will murder me. Then she doesn't have to know. Isabel slid on a pair of oversized sunglasses. Use your phone. Delivered to room 808. Name's Ms. Smith. Meanwhile, Leo Rossi was flying through the rain-slick streets of Manhattan on his e-bike. Crap, this one's going to be late. Rain streamed from his bangs, and the rubber duck mascot strapped to his delivery cube was getting thoroughly soaked. His phone's GPS showed another mile to the Atoria Grand, and the app was flashing a menacing 8 minutes remaining. Red light. Leo slammed on the brakes, nearly rear-ending a Mercedes. He wiped the rain from his face and glanced at the order notes. Room 8008. Miss Smith, please be on time. The customer is very important. Yeah, right. Who orders a grease bomb pizza this late if they aren't a starving gremlin? Leo muttered. But the instant the light turned green, he shot forward like an arrow from a bow. The elevator required a key card. Soaking wet and dripping onto the lobby's marble floor, Leo was promptly intercepted by security. Delivery for 808. Guest name, Ms. Smith. The guard eyed him with suspicion. Just as Leo was about to call the customer, a petite figure in a hoodie and sunglasses slipped in through a side entrance. My food. The voice was a low murmur. Leo turned and froze. Even with the disguise, he knew those eyes. He'd seen them on 1,000 movie posters. It was Isabel. He stammered shoo. Isabel snatched the pizza box and shoved a crumpled $50 bill into his hand. Keep the change. Leo's brain was still rebooting. He took the money on autopilot, the words tumbling out before he could stop them. You know, you might want to take it easy with that if you got a stomachache. Isabel, who had been turning to leave, stopped dead. She turned back slowly, her sunglasses sliding down her nose to reveal eyes insured for a rumored $10 million. What did you just say? Leo scratched his head, flinging droplets of rain everywhere. You were pressing on your stomach earlier and you're pale. Just be careful, I guess. My mom always says chicken soup is better for that kind of thing. Isabel's eyes widened. This delivery guy not only recognized her, but he was lecturing her on her diet. You do know who I am, right? She asked, narrowing her eyes. Of course, Leo grinned, showing a hint of canine teeth. Isabel Vance, the princess from Crown of Ashes. My mom loves you. Isabel waited for the inevitable. The request for a selfie, an autograph, a shout-out for his Instagram story. Instead, Leo pushed the $50 back in her hand. I was 15 minutes late. Company policy says you get a 50% refund. The box got a little wet, too, so make sure you leave a 1-star review. With that, he turned and walked back toward the revolving doors, his drenched silhouette casting a long shadow under the chandelier. Isabel stood frozen, the intoxicating scent of pepperoni and garlic wafting from the box. It suddenly occurred to her that this clueless, audacious delivery guy was more real than anyone she had smiled for on the red carpet tonight. Isabel Vance. The next morning, the roar from her agent Sharon was powerful enough to rattle the crystals on the presidential suite chandelier. She slammed a stack of glossy photos onto the coffee table, grainy Longland shots of Isabel's illicit pizza feast. "Do you know what these are worth?" Sharon said. "The paparazzi wanted 200 grand. We were lucky to buy them out first." Isabel, wrapped in a silk robe, casually applied a coat of nail polish, and Sharon's voice cracked. "Your new film starts shooting next month, and you're up 1.5 pounds. The costume designer just called, screaming that the couture gowns will have to be altered." Isabel glanced at the scale in the corner and pouted. It was one slice. One slice. Ashley, her assistant, timidly held up her phone. "Izzy, the receipt says you ordered a large." "Quiet you." Isabel chucked a throw pillow at her. Sharon took a deep, calming breath before deploying her ultimate weapon. "Listen to me. Until that brand event next week, your diet consists of steamed broccoli and boiled chicken breast. And if I so much as smell takeout again," she offered a truly terrifying smile, "I'll leak to the press that you're actually allergic to cats." Isabel's face went white. Her carefully crafted public image as the feline rescue ambassador couldn't take that kind of hit. "You're evil," she muttered, conceding defeat. Meanwhile, Leo was getting chewed out at the delivery hub's morning meeting. "You again, Rossi?" The manager slapped the table. "Third late delivery this month. It was a downpour last night," Leo tried to explain. "A downpour? How come Marco made all his deliveries on time?" The manager spewed. "One more screw-up, and your bonus is gone." After the meeting, Marco sidled up to him. "Hey, I heard you delivered to a big-shot celebrity last night." Leo was busy strapping a new rubber duck to his bike. "Who told you that?" "It's all over the group chat." Marco waggled his eyebrows. "They said you met Isabel Vance in person." Leo shrugged. "She's all right, I guess. The lady who leads the senior Zumba class in my neighborhood has more charm." "Yeah, right. Keep dreaming." Marco laughed. "Next you'll be telling me Taylor Swift asked you to split an Uber." Leo didn't bother arguing. He just swung a leg over his bike. "Believe what you want." All day, Leo found his delivery route circling the Historia Grand. For some reason, the thought of running into the actress again felt deeply awkward. But fate, it seemed, had a twisted sense of humor. At 10 p.m., the address for his final delivery flashed on his screen. The Historia Grand, room 808. Leo stared at his phone for a full 3 seconds, making sure he wasn't hallucinating. He hesitated, then dialed the customer. "Hi, I have your delivery. Leave it at the front desk." A cool female voice responded before hanging up. Leo felt a wave of relief, followed by a strange pang of disappointment. He dropped the bag with the concierge and was turning to leave when the elevator dinged. Isabel stepped out alone. No sunglasses, no mask. Her bare face, illuminated by the soft lobby lighting, looked pale and drawn. Their eyes met. "You again," she said, raising an eyebrow. Leo felt his hands get clammy. I was just... I didn't order anything tonight," Isabel said, walking toward a vending machine. She fed a few dollars in and selected a bottle of water. "My agent confiscated all my cash." On a strange impulse, Leo reached into his insulated bag and pulled out a small paper sack. "Here, have a slider. My mom made them. Meatball parm." Isabel froze. She glanced around as if checking for hidden cameras, then snatched the bag and took a huge bite. "Ow, hot," she hissed, fanning her mouth but refusing to spit it out. Leo smiled. "Easy there. No one's going to steal it from you." Munching, Isabel looked him up and down. "What's your name?" "Leo Rossi." "You from Philly? How'd you know the accent?" Isabel said, a glint in her eye. "Me too." They stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching the city lights blur in the streets below. "I haven't been home in 3 years," Isabel said suddenly. Leo didn't know what to say to that, so he just pulled out another slider. "Here." She took it, eating in smaller, more deliberate bites this time. After a moment, she spoke in a soft voice. "This is better than any Michelin star restaurant." Just then, the elevator doors opened again. Sharon burst out, flanked by 2 assistants. "Isabel, what are you?" Her eyes widened. "What are you eating?" Isabel instantly shoved a half-eaten slider back into Leo's hand, her acting instincts kicking in. "Oh, I was just discussing tomorrow's call sheet with this PA from the crew." "Sharon," Leo, suspiciously. "Which department are you with?" Thinking fast, Leo blurted, lighting. "Where's your crew badge?" "Left it on set." Just as his cover was about to be blown, Isabel cried out, "Ow, my stomach. Sharon, help me back to the room quick." In the ensuing chaos, Leo slipped away. It wasn't until he was outside in the cool night air that he realized his palms were slick with sweat, and he was still holding a squashed half-eaten meatball slider. "What a waste," he mumbled and ate it himself. For some reason, it tasted unusually sweet. That night, Isabel tossed and turned in her massive bed. At 3 a.m., she gave up, opened the DoorDash app, and found Leo's profile in her recent orders. Her thumb hovered over the Request This Dasher button for 10 long minutes before she finally pressed it. The order notes read, "The Atoria Grand, room 808, tomorrow, 12 p.m., M sharp, don't be late this time, Smith." On the third day of shooting her new historical drama, The Phoenix Empress, Isabel Vance was ready to burn the script to the ground. "Cut," the director yelled for the 5th time. "Isabel, I need more vulnerability. This is the first time you're meeting the male lead. Give me shy. Give me blushing." Isabel suppressed a wave of fury and forced a vulnerable smile at her co-star, Derek Stone. Taking his cue, Derek wrapped an arm around her waist, his fingers straying a half-inch too low. "Derek," she whispered through a clenched jaw, "move your hand 1 more inch, and tomorrow's headline will be about your trip to the emergency room." He smirked and pulled his hand back, but as she turned away, he deliberately stuck his foot out. Isabel stumbled, and her 6-figure custom-made headpiece went flying, clattering to the concrete floor. "Whoops, my bad," Derek said with fake sincerity, a triumphant gleam in his eyes. Everyone on set knew he was only here because his uncle was one of the film's biggest investors. During the lunch break, Isabel stormed into her trailer, too angry to even drink water. Ashley timidly handed her a phone. "Izzy, that delivery guy?" He accepted your order." Isabel's eyes lit up. She grabbed a burner phone and typed out a quick message. "East Entrance Soundstage 3. Back alley, 30 minutes. Then she pulled on a baseball cap, swapped her elaborate costume for a generic crew jumpsuit, and slipped out the back of her trailer. Leo stared at the address on his phone, completely baffled. It was in the middle of a massive film studio complex. Who was ordering takeout here? He followed the GPS to the specified drop-off point where a crew member in a mask and baggy jumpsuit was waving at him from the shadows. Over here, it wasn't until he got closer that he recognized Isabel. With her face scrubbed clean of makeup and a smear of what looked like grease on her cheek, she somehow looked more vibrant than she ever did on the red carpet. "Does your whole film crew order food this secretively?" Leo asked, handing her the bag. "General Tso's chicken. Extra spicy. No scallions." Isabel grabbed the container and sat right down on a concrete stoop, digging in. "I was starving. Those bastards." She cut herself off, glancing at Leo to gauge his reaction. He didn't seem surprised at all. Instead, he pulled another container from his insulated bag. "Figured you probably skipped breakfast. My mom made baked ziti. You should eat it while it's hot." Isabel stared. "Does your mom just cook constantly?" "A Philly boy never lies to a Philly girl," Leo said, mimicking her faint, long-lost accent. "My mom says when you meet someone from back home, you gotta feed him." A lump formed in Isabel's throat. It had been 5 years since she'd tasted anything that felt like home. Sharon always said that kind of food made her seem less sophisticated. "Hey," she said, twirling pasta, trying to sound casual. "You do know who I am, right?" "Yeah," Leo said, squatting down next to her. "You're the movie star who's getting bullied by that jackass Derek Stone." Isabel nearly choked on her ziti. "How do you know about Derek?" Leo pulled out his phone and showed her the trending topics on Twitter. Hashtag Derek Stone on set bully and hashtag Team Isabel. The replies were a war zone of fans attacking Derek and trolls accusing Isabel of being a diva. Isabel's hands were shaking with anger. They don't even know the truth, and they just... So what is the truth? Leo leaned in closer. He smelled like sunshine and motor oil. Isabel's heart skipped a beat. "What's it to you?" Leo shrugged. "All right then, I'll get going." He stood up, brushing off his pants. "By the way, that Derek guy." "Yeah." "His fly's been down all morning." Leo flashed a wicked grin. The whole crew saw his purple boxer briefs. Isabel stared for a second, then erupted into a peal of laughter so loud it echoed off the soundstage walls. Across the lot, Derek Stone was surrounded by crew members who were pointing and snickering, his face the color of a ripe tomato. "You did that?" she asked, wiping tears of mirth from her eyes. "I just winked. A simple delivery guy? What kind of trouble could I possibly cause?" Isabel suddenly felt that the sun was shining brighter than it had all day. Leo started noticing that people were following him. At first, he thought he was imagining things, but then he found 3 girls hiding in the bushes outside his apartment building, snapping pictures with their phones. "Can I help you?" he started to ask, but they just shrieked and ran off. The next day, the delivery hub was in an uproar. "Leo, you're on TMZ," Marco shouted, shoving his phone in Leo's face. Under the headline, Isabel Vance's Mystery Man Revealed, there were a series of photos of Leo on his delivery route, the clearest one showing him and Isabel sitting on the studio steps, sharing a container of pasta, their backs to the camera. Holy crap. The station manager's eyes were practically bugging out of his head. "You're actually dating a movie star." Leo's scalp prickled. The first thing he did was text Isabel. "Sorry for all the trouble this is causing." Her reply was almost instant. "Don't look at Twitter." It was followed by another text. "Don't take any orders tonight. Wait for my call." But the crisis exploded before he could even get home. While making a delivery at a mall that afternoon, Leo was cornered by 2 aggressive fans. "It's him, the guy trying to trap our Isabel," one of them sneered. "A delivery boy? He's not good enough for her." Leo was shoved backward, his delivery order tumbling to the ground. The girl leading the charge suddenly threw a large iced latte in his face. "Stay away from our queen." Onlookers raised their phones. The camera flashes created a dizzying strobe. Leo slowly wiped his face, the sticky liquid dripping from his chin onto his uniform. He was flustered and angry, but he took a breath. "First of all," he said, his voice surprisingly calm, "that's a waste of a perfectly good drink." He looked directly at the girl who'd thrown the latte. "Son, I don't think she'd want you doing this. She's a person. Just be kind." The girls were stunned into silence. They had expected him to run away or yell back. "Not this." "Don't let him fool you," the leader shouted, her voice wavering. "He's obviously just after her money." Leo bent down and started picking up the spilled food. "If you really care about her," he said, neatly sorting the trash into a nearby recycling bin, "you should respect her choices." With that, he got on his e-bike and rode off, leaving a crowd of bewildered fans in his wake. A bystander's video of the entire exchange went viral almost immediately. The hashtag delivery guys shut down stands shot to the #1 trending topic. Isabel saw the video in her makeup trailer and was so furious she threw her powder compact against the wall. Then she went on Instagram Live. "Someone hurt my friend today," she said to the camera, her face cold and devoid of makeup. Effective immediately, anyone who participated in doxing or harassing him is blocked. "I will never accept any form of support from you again." The comment section exploded. "Yes, Queen. You tell them." "So, he really?" "I asked your boyfriend." "OMG, I'm heartbroken." Isabel saw that last comment, and a slow, dangerous smile spread across her face. "Don't be heartbroken," she purred, drawing out the suspense. "Because he hasn't even said yes to me yet." The live stream crashed. Before the servers gave out completely, the last thing millions of viewers saw was Isabel's impossibly smug, triumphant grin. That night, a slim figure in a baseball cap appeared at Leo's front door. "Are you insane?" Leo said, pulling her inside. "The paparazzi are everywhere." Isabel pulled off her mask, her eyes sparkling. "Are you okay?" "I saw the video. I'm fine," he said, his ears turning red. "But that live stream, what were you thinking?" "I was thinking that I'm tired of other people writing my story," she said, her voice softening. She looked at him, her gaze intense. And I was thinking about you. He turned away to get her a glass of water, his hands shaking. Look, don't be impulsive. We're not from the same. He never finished the sentence. A pair of arms wrapped around him from behind, and a warm body pressed against his back. Isabel rested her cheek between his shoulder blades. You want to know why I like you? She murmured. Leo stood rigid. Because in your eyes, I'm not Isabel Vance, the movie star. Her voice was muffled by his shirt. I'm just Izzy from Philly. Leo slowly turned around to face her. Her eyes were red-rimmed. He lifted his hand to wipe away a tear, but stopped midair. It was still sticky from the dried latte. Isabel grabbed his hand and pressed it to her own cheek. I don't care. In that moment, the only thing Leo could hear was the frantic, thunderous beating of his own heart. Isabel made it official. There was no caption, just a single photo posted to her Instagram. Two hands, fingers intertwined. One wrist wore a Philippe Stark night watch, the other a $20 Casio. Instagram servers crashed for 2 hours. Leo's life turned upside down. Reporters camped outside his apartment building 24/7. DoorDash tried to launch a celebrity boyfriend delivery campaign. He ignored it all and kept his routes. The honeymoon phase didn't last long. A week later, Isabel took him to a quiet coffee shop in the West Village, hoping for a moment of peace. They were almost out the door when a smooth voice called her name. Isabel, I thought that was you. Seated at a corner table was her ex-boyfriend, the Oscar-winning actor Julian Croft. Julian, Isabel said, her voice tight. She instinctively moved closer to Leo. Julian's gaze swept over Leo's faded uniform. He chuckled. Isabel always did have a soft spot for a charity case. When we were together, she was always volunteering at shelters. Leo's expression didn't change. He just held the door open for Isabel. We should go. Julian's eyes narrowed, ignoring him and focusing on Isabel. You don't actually think this will last, do you? It's a novelty. Once she gets bored of playing house with the help. Get bored of what? Isabel cut in, her voice like ice. She hooked her arm through Leo's. Julian, darling, Leo was just taking me to his mom's for dinner. It's spaghetti and meatballs night. I'm afraid your 5-star life is the thing that's become boring. Julian's composure cracked. His face was a mask of disgust. Do you know what the press is saying? That you've completely lost your mind. They also say you're gay. Isabel chirped, batting her eyelashes. Should I leak the receipts? Julian fell silent as they walked away from the cafe, the streetlights casting long shadows. Isabel whispered, Are you mad? No, Leo said, staring straight ahead. Liar. I can see your ears are red. Leo stopped and turned to face her under the amber glow of a street lamp. He's right. We're not from the same world. Isabel looked stunned for a second. Then her expression hardened into fury. She backed him against the brick wall of a brownstone. You listen to me, Leo Rossi. Isabel Vance, love who I want to love, but no buts. She stood on her toes, her face inches from his. Unless you don't actually like me. Leo looked down at her trembling eyelashes, at the fierce loyalty burning in her eyes, and finally surrendered. I like you. Isabel pressed her advantage. How much? A blush crept up Leo's neck. More than my mom's meatball sliders. Isabel let out a snort of laughter. Oh well, that's a problem. I can't cook to save my life. I'll teach you, Leo whispered. Their foreheads touched. Neither of them noticed the camera flash from the shadows across the street. The next day, #Isabel Vance Delivery Guy was trending worldwide. An invitation arrived for Leo, embossed gold lettering on thick cardstock. Mr. Leo Rossi is cordially invited to the Starlight Foundation Charity Gala. The signature at the bottom read, Richard Sterling, Chairman, Sterling Industries. Don't go, Isabel said, snatching the invitation. That old vulture is bad news. Leo did a quick Google search. Richard Sterling wasn't just a corporate titan. He was also one of Isabel's most persistent and public admirers, having once told a reporter he intended to make her his 5th wife. I'm going, Leo said suddenly. What? Isabel's eyes went wide. Are you crazy? That guy is. I can't hide behind you forever, Leo said calmly. I'm your boyfriend, Isabel. not your pet. Isabel was speechless. She had never seen him look so resolute. On the night of the gala, Leo showed up at the five-star hotel wearing a custom-tailored suit Isabel had bought for him. The valet, seeing him arrive in a yellow cab, sneered and didn't even bother to hold the door. The ballroom was a sea of glittering jewels and champagne flutes. The moment Leo walked in, he felt 100 pairs of eyes on him. He straightened his shoulders and walked directly toward Richard Sterling, who was holding court in the center of the room. "Mr. Sterling, an honor," he said, extending a hand. Sterling, a well-preserved man in his late 50s with a watch that could buy a condo, pretended not to see Leo's hand. He turned to the crowd. "Everyone, I'd like you to meet Miss Vance's friend." A wave of snickering rippled through the guests. Leo calmly retracted his hand. "Isabel sends her regrets. She's feeling under the weather." Sterling's eyes narrowed. "A shame. You think you made it, kid? Do you have any idea how easy it would be for me to make sure you never work in this city again?" Before Leo could answer, a clear voice cut through the tension. "Uncle Richard, who are you threatening now?" Isabel made her grand entrance in a stunning crimson gown, gliding over to link her arm with Leo's. "Sorry I'm late, everyone. My boyfriend insisted I finish my soup before we left." Sterling's expression changed instantly. "Isabel, my dear, I was just getting to know your young man." "Oh, really?" Isabel tilted her head. "What are you talking about?" "We were just—" Sterling stared daggers at Leo. "Discussing the fascinating world of food delivery." The guests tittered again, but Isabel was unruffled. She plucked a glass of champagne from a passing waiter's tray. "Speaking of which," she said, her smile dazzling, "my Leo is quite the hero. During that hurricane last year, he spent 3 days delivering free meals to stranded senior citizens. He was even on the local news for it." She tapped her phone and a news clip played. There was Leo, soaked to the bone, carrying an elderly woman through waist-deep floodwaters, a warm, reassuring smile on his face. The expressions in the room shifted. No one had expected the delivery boy to have a story like that. Sterling, not to be outdone, sniffed, "A kind heart is admirable, but a good match is more important." Isabel replied, "You deserve better." "Such as?" Sterling adjusted his tie. "Someone who can help your career." Isabel laughed out loud. "Uncle Richard, wasn't it you who said 5 years ago that actresses were just glorified courtesans? My, how you've changed your tune." Sterling's face flushed. Seizing the moment, Isabel pulled Leo toward the exit. "Wasn't I brilliant?" she whispered as soon as they were outside. "I looked up all your news clips just to shut him up." But Leo was quiet. "What's wrong?" Isabel asked, a knot of anxiety forming in her stomach. "Those seniors," Leo said in a low voice. "I went back to check on them a few months later. The building they lived in had been torn down. A developer bought the whole block to build luxury condos." Isabel froze. It hit her then that Leo's world was filled with a kind of struggle she had only ever seen in scripts. "I'll help you," she said, squeezing his hand. "We'll do something together." Leo looked at her, at the fierce determination in her eyes, and slowly nodded. That night, the piece Richard Sterling had paid for was quickly buried by a new organic trend: Hurricane Hero. The narrative had completely flipped. Isabel scrolled through the comments, a smug grin on her face. "See, I have excellent taste." Leo just ruffled her hair. "You're a dork." The piece didn't last. A week later, a notorious gossip magazine published a bombshell expose: the gritty truth about Isabel Vance's boyfriend, high school dropout, alcoholic father, and mother's minimum wage job. The article was accompanied by a grainy photo of Leo's father passed out on a sidewalk and a long lens shot of his mother scanning groceries at a discount supermarket. Isabel was in the middle of a photo shoot when she heard the news. She raced to Leo's apartment and burst in, only to find him calmly cooking pasta at the stove. "Yep, you saw it?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Yeah," Leo said without looking up. "It's all true." Isabel's heart broke for him. "My lawyers are already sending cease and desist letters. This is a gross invasion of privacy." Leo cut her off. "We should break up." "What?" It felt like a physical blow. Leo turned off the stove and faced her. "I did some digging. Julian Croft and Richard Sterling worked together on this leak. They're not going to stop. So what? Isabel's voice shook. You just going to give up? I don't want to drag you down with me, Leo said with a bitter smile. Do you know how much your company's stock has dropped today? How many endorsement deals are on hold? Isabel snatched a spatula and slammed it on the counter. You think I give a damn about that stupid money? Her outburst stunned him into silence. Leo Rossi, you listen to me, Isabel said, grabbing the front of his shirt as tears finally welled in her eyes. I love you. Not your family history, not your education. I already knew about all of it. Now, it was Leo's turn to be shocked. You already knew? Duh. Isabel swiped at her tears. You think A-listers don't do background checks before they start dating someone? Leo was speechless. Isabel took the opportunity to push him back onto the sofa and climb into his lap. Right now, you have one option, she said, her voice fierce and trembling. You suck it up and you stay with me, because if you try to leave, her voice broke. If you try to leave me, I won't let you. The tips of Leo's ears turned crimson. In one swift movement, he flipped her over, pinning her beneath him on the sofa. Are you serious? Isabel looked straight into his eyes, her own filled with a desperate, unwavering certainty. Leo, right now, prove to them all that this is real. Their faces were inches apart, breaths mingling. Just as their lips were about to meet, Isabel's phone buzzed violently. Damn it! She was about to decline the call without looking, but Leo caught the caller ID. Sharon, urgent. You should get that, he said, pushing himself up. It might be important. Isabel reluctantly answered, and Sharon's frantic screaming filled the small apartment. Isabel, it's a catastrophe. Your father was just photographed in Vegas. He owes loan sharks $800,000, and they told the press they're coming to you to collect. The color drained from Isabel's face. Her father had disappeared after divorcing her mother years ago. How could? Leo took her trembling hand in his. Hey, don't panic. We'll figure this out. Isabel looked at him, lost. You don't mind? Mind what? Leo smiled gently. That you have a deadbeat dad, just like me. A watery laugh escaped her lips. Then idea sparked. She scrambled for her laptop and logged into an encrypted drive. Good thing I have insurance, she muttered, opening several files. They were filled with digital dirt on Julian Croft and Richard Sterling. Everything from tax evasion records to evidence of them harassing young actors. Leo whistled. You've been busy. You don't survive this long in Hollywood without some leverage, Isabel said with a cold smile. I was hoping I'd never have to use this. She drafted a new tweet, paused, and then turned to Leo. Should I? Leo placed his hand over hers on the mouse. You know there's no going back from this, right? Isabel looked deep into his eyes and smiled. With you by my side, what am I afraid of? She clicked post. The tweet was only one sentence. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. Let's get real live at Julian Croft Official at Richard Sterling that night. As Julian's and Sterling's phones blew up, Isabel and Leo were curled up on a small sofa, sharing a bowl of instant ramen. This is disgusting, Isabel complained. Your cooking is way better. It'll have to do for tonight, Leo said, giving her the last bite. I'll make you my mom's baked ziti tomorrow. Isabel grew quiet. Leo, and I'm just saying if, after tomorrow I lose everything, then I'll just have to pick up a few extra shifts. Leo said without a second's hesitation, I can't afford to support you. Isabel buried her face in his chest, secretly wiping away a tear. The next day, Isabel Vance's live stream shattered every record on the platform. She appeared without any makeup, and sitting beside her, dressed in a simple Henley, was Leo. They were holding hands, and a stack of documents sat on the table in front of them. Hi, everyone. I have 3 things to announce today, Isabel began, her voice steady. First, regarding my father's supposed debt, we have evidence it was a setup orchestrated by our mutual friends Julian and Richard. That evidence has been turned over to the police. Second, we have filed a lawsuit against those who slandered Leo and his family. And third, she took a deep breath and held up their intertwined hands. On her finger was a simple, elegant ring that wasn't there before. We're engaged. The internet broke. The platform servers completely crashed. When a stream finally came back online, there was a new person in the frame. Leo's mother, a warm-faced, unassuming woman who was placing a steaming dish on the table. "Izzy, honey," she said, her Philly accent thick and comforting. "Eat up before it gets cold. It's my homemade ravioli." Isabel beamed and dug in, eating with genuine delight. Leo sat beside her, gently wiping a smudge of tomato sauce from her cheek. His eyes full of a love so profound it was almost tangible. The live stream became a global phenomenon. "This is the most authentic thing I have ever seen a celebrity do. I'm not crying, you're crying. Look at that future mother-in-law. My faith in love is restored." 6 months later, Julian Croft was under federal investigation for tax fraud, and Richard Sterling's company's stock had plummeted. The most viral wedding video of the year wasn't a lavish celebrity affair, but a simple, heartfelt clip of Isabel and Leo. The wedding took place in the backyard of Leo's family home in Philadelphia. Isabel wore a simple, elegant sheath dress, and Leo wore a classic black suit. They exchanged vows under a canopy of string lights, surrounded by their closest friends and family. Later that night, as they sat on the porch swing, Leo asked quietly, "Any regrets? Marrying a poor kid from Philly?" Isabel smiled and leaned in to kiss him. "I married the best man in the entire world.